مصريين، يا أردنيين، يا يا ليبيا، يا جزائر، يا تونس، يا مغرب، يا كل الشعوب العربية، يا كفار، يا عالم، يا عالم متنا من الجوع، يا عالم متنا من الجوع. افتحوا المعبر، الناس ماتت من الجوع، احنا متنا من الجوع يا عالم، يا عالم متنا من الجوع. وصي صوتنا يا عمي، متنا يا عالم من الجوع، يا عالم بكفي، يا عالم بكفي، والله العظيم بكفي.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is up? What is going on? It's your boy Maki, the historian. I'm coming to you with another vid or stream for Democracy 101. Thank you to everybody coming in the building. I already see my girl Angie, baby. Thank you so much for coming through. Please smash that like button as you come in. I already got my bro up here. For those of you who are avid Democracy 101 watchers, you already know who this is. It's my brother AC. How you doing, AC?
What's good, bro? Ready for another great show, man.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Smash the like button. We got a great show coming in, like AC just said. Let's go ahead. I expected Dub right side and maybe a couple others to show up, but let's go ahead and get on into the topics. Charlie Kirk was unfortunately assassinated. I believe it was last Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk was unfortunately and untimely assassinated just this last Friday on Utah Valley University's campus. He was done in by this young man. Let me get his picture up on the screen for the people, or at least for Angie, baby. This young man right here, Mr. Tyler Robinson. Now, the orange idiot and his crowd from the right, from the time this incident has happened, they have been talking about right-wing lunatics. We saw Nancy Mace immediately as soon as this happened. She came out and said that this is the Democrats' fault, that they need to own this. This young man, Tyler Robinson, is from good old rural Utah. Has come up in a family that is all Republican. His own grandmother has said she doesn't even know any Democrats. They have tried to paint this young man as a leftist. We're being told that he has a roommate who is a male transitioning into a female.
But keep
And
it a bean. Keep it a bean. There's a context to what you just said. They were actually in a romantic relationship, him and his roommate.
Yep. I was about to. Yep, absolutely, they were. Law enforcement confirmed that they are in fact in a romantic relationship based on the messages and different things they've received. Um, However, there's also another side of this. This young man there's people saying that he was an avid follower of Nick Fuentes and the Groyper movement, which y'all can do your own research on that. I'm not a huge fan of Nick Fuentes myself. I think he's a Nazi. However, I will say I do like his stance on Israel, but I guess that's all you can really use a Nazi for. LOL. But so there's people also speculating that he might have done this because Charlie wasn't far enough to the right. We really don't have a motive at this time. We really can't say, but there are people. But before I get into the other stuff, AC, give me a reaction to the shooter being found. By the way, his father, I think they said his pastor and his father turned him in.
Yeah, definitely. They were the ones who turned him in. Feckless Cash Patel didn't do a goddamn thing, but just try to uh, pick up anybody they actually thought might have done it. At the end of the day, now that they got the guy, a lot of the talk should have automatically been dismissed, where people were calling for all of this violence and retribution and things like that. That should have been dismissed. Looking at the current temperature of everything, Democrats have been saying for the longest, let's curb gun control. Let's curb gun control. Charlie Kirk's own words, rest in peace, was there will be, there will be casualties in this war of democracy that we're looking for, and unfortunately, um, you're the first major casualty. So
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
Yeah, so when you're looking at things like that, and this is the things that you support, like I said early on when we first chopped it up, when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. When you live by the bullet, you die by the bullet. So um, I'm I am relieved that the shooter was caught. A lot of the talking points should have been killed, but people are intent on trying to start this civil war for the good of MAGA. I would say like that.
Yeah. Moving on. I mentioned Nancy Mace. Obviously. Before I move on to that, salute to my girl Vacay Bay in the building. Thank you so much for coming through. My boy Chopped Cheese Tommy of the Bronx, Puerto Rican man himself. I know he's happy. Them Seahawks, they got themselves a dub. You know what I'm saying? Go get yourself a chopped cheese and rest up, Puerto Rican boy. Yeah, salute to everybody coming in the building. Thank you so much, man. Smash that like button. Um, yeah. No, AC, what you said is very prudent. These people, they're trying to start the civil war. I mentioned Nancy Mace. I also mentioned Donald Trump. From the moment this happened, he immediately went into left wing lunatics. This is the left's fault. He even went on Fox News, and this is what this motherfucker said. He said, well, they asked him directly, but Mr. President, and I'm actually surprised that Fox asked him a direct question like this. Mr. President, but isn't there issues with violence on both sides of the spectrum? And this dude actually says, well, the difference is the radical right, they fight because they think their country is being lost. They think that because their border is being taken away. The left lunatics, they hate our country. I mean, there's no doubt. And then I tried to get the video. I couldn't get the video loaded, which is unfortunate. Let me see. I might be able to delete some stuff and get.
There is no racial bigotry here.
My bad. I might be able to delete some stuff and get the video uploaded. But over there in Britain, they're having their own far right fascist moment where they are about to elect a far right government specifically to get all the immigrants out, because there's this originalist movement over there that's saying that British identity is being lost by bringing in all these brown people. And they had Elon Musk up there on a screen in front of hundreds of thousands of white nationalist Brits. And he's up there saying, AC, you need to fight or you'll die. There's no two choices. Your country is being taken from you. Look at the far right left. They celebrate murder. I mean, like, I really wish I could have the video up for you, because I cannot believe that, like, part of me almost wishes that we had been taken over by Hitler and his fascists, because there's no way that people today are this dumb that they're falling for these people, that they would allow Elon Musk to trick them like this. I really wish I had the video up so you could see it. These people are idiots. And then Elon Musk, they had him on like a video screen. He was up there screaming, "Oh!" like he's a fucking caveman. And then it just went to black. But it was absolutely just cringe. It wasn't even funny. It was just cringeworthy. But yeah, vacay bay Elon. Nah, that man. Fuck Elon Musk. Fuck him. But I mean, Elon has been a well-known Nazi for years. You look at his support for a lot of the Boer movements down in South Africa. But AC, is a civil war on the horizon, my brother? Is it happening?
I I I'm finding it really really hard to envision the Civil War because when you look at Civil War and things like that, there were two strong, solid sides, and the two side, the leaders of both sides were really there, and you can say respectable to each party's movement and things like that. When you look at those people who are calling for uh, the violence to escalate it to a civil war, these are not the people that will get out there and fight for you. Elon Musk is not the guy that's going to get out there and fight for you. Um, uh, who else? The Fox News, Jesse, whatever his name is from
Jesse
Fox News.
Waters, that idiot.
He's not the guy to do it. Nobody from the five, with the exception of the liberal lady that's there, will actually get out in the trenches and fight for you. They're gonna stay, with their colognes and their makeup and their finely manicured nails and their suits, and they're gonna be reading like, okay, today, what are ratings like? So what do I need to say that's outrageous to get people more angry so they want to get out there and fight? So these are not the people that's going to fight for you. So I truly believe that the majority of the MAGA movement does realize, at a small degree, they still may be in denial, but at the smallest degree, they realize that these are not the people that's going to fight for us. They'll probably rely on, the Charlie Kirks and what's the guy that started that other group, the Groypers? What's his name again?
Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes and the girl influencer who's involved with Trump. You'll probably see them more on the ground than any of these other high level people. So at the end of the day, I really doubt it. It's a lot of smoke sticking out your chest, trying to stand real tall, and just selling, like we would say when I was growing up, selling wolf tickets. You ain't about to do nothing but sit your ass down. You
But what
talking
do you
crazy
think
for
about
nothing.
the fact that the ruling coalition, these people already have power? They already have power over really every arm of our government. What do you think about the fact that they're still trying to incite a civil war?
Yeah, this is
And
what.
with motherfuckers like Stephen Miller in office talking about suspending habeas corpus.
Yeah, you got Stephen Miller going after corpus. You got Pete Hegseth wanting to use the military to go after anybody who's a detractor of or speaking ill of Charlie Kirk. Then you got Pam Bondi talking about she's ready to prosecute, and Janine Shapiro talking about they're ready to prosecute. But again, none of you motherfuckers are the type that get down in the trenches. So you're going to try to do it through bureaucracy like fucking cowards. So at the end of the day, you're the least motherfuckers that I would be worried about. I would be more worried about what the influencers are trying to do, because these are the ones who are actually radicalizing people. It's not the Fox News. It's not the fucking OANs and Newsmax and all of this shit. They're listening to the people online, and whoever these people are following, who's forming these mini groups that you subscribe, just like we do with boxing channels and other sports channels, where you subscribe to their Patreon and all of this other stuff. This is where you're being radicalized. This is where the conversation happens, because now I'm talking directly to you. I can identify with the young man talking the shit that he's talking, because he's in my age group. I can identify with the fact that he's not he might be the son of a rich kid, but he's talking my same struggles. So those are the ones you got to be fearful of. The big boys in the news and the legacy media, man, shut y'all asses up. Y'all ain't about to do nothing. I'm not worried about y'all for nothing. I'm more concerned about the online presence that's been there. That's been there since Obama was president. It's only gotten worse. Even when Obama was president, they were talking about the extreme white hate groups. So at the end of the day, they've only gotten worse. So don't be distracted by legacy media war. Oh, it's Fox News versus MSNBC, and CNN done got down with people. They all have been down because MSNBC, CNN, and Fox are all owned by the same guy.
Yep,
So
and the Wall Street Journal and Dow
yeah,
Jones.
exactly. So we don't like those. That is the least of my worry because their rhetoric doesn't hit like the YouTubers. People pull up to this channel because they're looking for the people who are speaking truth to power. The people are not going to say, well, things are so hectic. I'm afraid of my own thing and what I've got going on, so I may take a break from YouTube and yada yada yada. Then if this is what you're gonna do, my friend, take your coward ass on. Because when shit gets thick, we don't need people to go run and hide. We need people to stay on the front line and fight. Speak truth to power. That's how it works. You don't speak to truth to power till shit get thick, and then you start to get quiet, get scared and quiet. So on both sides, that's what I'm saying. It's the power of the internet now. Now it's the influencer war. So you may see civil wars pop up between Democrats and civil wars pop up between Republican factions, but to whereas both sides are going to be up guns and doing all of this stuff, you may see people do stupid shit or do certain type of shootings and say, well, I did this because I'm fighting for the rights of this, and I do understand we may be in this civil war. But once people really start to understand it, they're gonna be like, "What civil war is this motherfucker talking about?" So, yeah, that's the way I feel about it, Marky.
Yeah,
I
I don't think
yeah,
no, yeah, I don't think and salute to my brother Boxer Scholar coming in. We're talking about Charlie Kirk shooting right now. We're talking about the climate after post his shooting, as well as the shooter that was caught, and the politicians weaving their own narratives. But I would have to agree with you, AC. I don't see it if we do have a civil war in this country, or just thinking about a civil war. It could, there's no way it would be as organized as it was back in the 1860s, or excuse me, the 1850s, or whenever the Civil War was, where you had the Confederate States. They all decided to come together in one room and say, we are breaking away from we're breaking away from the North and from the federal states, because the federal government wants to take away our slaves and destroy our economy. I don't see that happening. Like, the country is too spread out. Like, you got California in one section, then you got New York in the other section, then you got Michigan up there, then you got Texas in one spot, you got Alaska all the fucking way over one way. It would just be way too split up. Like, the way I see it might happening is maybe I see like the January Sixers, the Proud Boys, all those little paramilitary groups that Trump has invested in over the years. I see them maybe carrying out some attacks, some assassinations, and then our own leftist groups, they they just do vice versa. And maybe it's like street wars, and then the politicians are on top trying to legislate based on what's going on from there. But yeah, I don't see nothing on the level of 600,000 people dying. I see that shit being like almost like some gang street violence shit,
yeah,
if that makes
that's
sense.
yeah, that's exactly how I see it. It's just people taking pot shots and claiming they're doing it for whatever. When you look at uh, things that happen between like other countries where they're dealing with terrorist groups like that on a regular. Expect things like that. And Amnesty International, the civil war that happened in Ireland and shit like that in the 80s, you know. So kind of expect things like that, and maybe 10 years from now they'll have documentaries and movies about both sides that'll have the grandkids of Robert De Niro and whoever the fuck else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, man. Obviously you see this message up here from Clay Higgins. He himself is saying he's going to use his congressional authority to get you banned from big tech platforms if he does not feel like you are sufficiently sad enough about Charlie Kirk's death. He also says he's coming after your business license and getting you blacklisted and kicked from every school. He's also looking to see if he can get your driver's license revoked. Sounds like pretty fascist behavior, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you expect from a Republican from Louisiana? But anyways, AC, moving on, we're gonna move on to the Epstein stuff. I've done a little bit more deeper digging into the Epstein book, or excuse me, the Epstein birthday book. Some pretty interesting facts have come out, but reacting to one thing that happened this week, one boot has officially dropped. This is Peter Mandelson. I think that's how you say his name. He, at least until this week, was the was the UK ambassador to the US. He has officially been fired by Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, after the Daily Mail leaked emails between him and Epstein, in which he said, "I feel completely hopeless that this is happening to you," while Epstein was being prosecuted for soliciting sex from minors. We then also go into the birthday book. This motherfucker wrote Epstein 10 pages worth of letters.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah, he wrote the most. One of them, you see Mr. Mandelson right here in his underwear talking about I would spend hours just waiting for him to turn up. He's talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Then later, the last page of all of his letters, you see right here a picture of him and Jeffrey Epstein on a speedboat, and he says, "Happy birthday, Jeffrey. I love you." So that pretty much establishes just how good friends him and Epstein were, and there were also a lot of different other innuendos in there. But AC, I mean, you probably didn't know too much about this gentleman, but how you react into the first political firing as a result of Epstein, at least for this year?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't know too much about him. I just was watching, some of the big buzz that were coming out of, many different news sources, from basic financial news to all types of news things, talking about BBC News and Bloomberg News. Like this, his firing is a big deal. Now, I didn't know much about the individual at the time, but I'm watching the ramifications of that firing. And at the end of the day, if you were more involved in that, all right, UK is gonna fire you as 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 an ambassador and say you're not qualified to be an ambassador, or whatever. But the United States, it's like, okay, what are you going to do now? Or yeah, the man was fired, but look at what he was involved in. Are you not going to prosecute him? Are you going to
By
try? I
by the
mean,
by the way, he still keeps he has a position as a life peer in the House of Lords, which he continues to keep that position. I think they're gonna have to take him to court to get him out of there.
yeah, and that's where we really see the ramifications, because the firing is basically putting one hand on your hip and wagging your finger in his face. That's about what that firing equals to me. It doesn't do anything but inform people of why uh, your links to Jeffrey Epstein. But overall, it's just put my finger on my hip and wagging, putting one hand on my hip and wagging my finger in your face and trying to chastise you. That's not going to do nothing. It's not going to do anything for the victims. It's not going to do anything for anybody. So unless there's some sort of prosecution or some sort of extreme punitive damages and things like that, and I'm still with giving the man jail time. Take all his fucking money and give him jail time. So that's where I say, all right, now you can have me seriously comment about something like that because I think justice is finally happening. Again, we're just seeing another example of a rich, wealthy white man just get basically chastised or a light tap on the wrist and say, just don't do it again.
Yeah, this is one of the problems though, because a lot of the even and I'll pull up the letter. Hold on, let me find it quick. Even with this letter, which I view to be the most damning piece of information that involves Donald Trump in this, it's hard to call this a smoking gun because the young lady that's involved in this letter right here, and for those of you watching who don't know what this is a letter written by a gentleman by the name of Joel Pacho, who was a member of the Mar-a-Lago massage club, and that's not me making that up. He's literally a member of the Mar-a-Lago massage club, has been one for years. um you see him right, his name is Joel Pacho. You see him in this picture holding a check right next to Jeffrey Epstein. He writes this letter basically talking about how Donald Trump bought what he described as a fully depreciated woman from Jeffrey Epstein for $22,000, 500. And you see them holding the check right there. You would think this would be like smoking gun, but it's you can't use this because the young lady involved is saying that this isn't true and that she didn't have any relationship with these two people past 1997. Now, I personally think that's a lie, but we know how this game works. These girls get paid. They sign deals. They sign NDAs. They can't talk about it. So I don't think nothing is gonna happen to these people. But the public humiliation,
Yeah.
that should be, it should be good enough. It should be good enough, man. But it's not, because nothing's really gonna happen to these people. They already rich as hell. They already got big walls they done built. They could hide behind for years and just die out.
Man, they got publicists to say just go dark for about 30 days. Wait for the next, wait for the change in the news cycle. Once the change in the news cycle happen, now you can pop out. Be careful on your interviews. Don't be on any major interviews. You can just go ahead and start living your life. The thing
Yeah,
is,
but
with our media, once we get past the news cycle, that story and that whole situation becomes a dead issue. Oh, you still talking about that? Like, why not?
are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
You know, and
Hey,
and that's what'll happen and things like that. And this is why we never got any clarity on Donald Trump's, you know, uh, so-called assassination attempt in Butler. We never seen the real funeral of the innocent man who was shot. We saw a fire truck with a bunch of American flags on it and stuff like that, and heard people talk about it. Hey, listen, I don't even know if there was a real man that did die. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think what uh, Vicky Bay was just like, she feels it was staged. A lot of people are starting to come to that conclusion, and even some some channels that lean towards being more conservative and back in the GOP and Republicans, they feel the same way. So at the end of the day, we'll find out all the information. I don't put anything past this administration because they were willing to lie about so many things and things that were just, outright obvious. Donald Trump taking a Sharpie marker to insist against the weather bureau that
Yeah, I remember
a
that.
goddamn tornado or a hurricane was going to hit a certain place, and it just never did, and you was insisting that was the path. To the point where you took a Sharpie in a interview and you drew on the map like, no, it was gonna go here. That doesn't matter, Don. It never went there. And when you drew the shit on the map, it still wasn't going there. So, you know, it's just weird shit like that. The man, faked the
Man.
whole thing with the Epstein jail footage. You doctored it and dropped it to the American public. So do
Bro,
you
and the
want
we- and the weirdest thing about that footage is there was no reason to do it. Like
exactly,
Congress got the full footage, and it was normal. Like there was
exactly.
nothing. Why did you take out the minute for?
And here's the thing, that wasn't even where Jeffrey Epstein was being held. So you just gave us footage, dropped footage to Congress and everything that was completely irrelevant to the point you were trying to make. So do I think these things are just random and these people are coming out of nowhere and doing X, Y, and Z?
Eh,
Nah, I don't think that, bro.
Hey, to vacate Bay in the chat. Yes, this man was a member, Mr. Joel Pacho. He was a member of Epstein's vacation, or excuse me, he was a member of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago massage club. Um, I'm probably
The
saying
same
that
club
wrong.
that the
It's
same club that he was he got him and Epstein fell out of friendship because Epstein was stealing the
Yeah,
masseuses. Is
Epstein
that
was
place?
stealing his talent. Yep. Nah, and this guy Joel Pacho, vacate Bay, he is a really sick individual. So I don't know if he drew these pictures, but he submitted these pictures to Ghislaine Maxwell for the Epstein birthday book. And you can see right here, well, I got most of it blocked out, but Mr. Joel Pacho, in one picture, you see the year 1983. Epstein is giving some balloons and candies. I got the little girls blocked out, but he's grooming some little girls over here. Yeah, it's extremely creepy. Then
Yeah.
in 2003, 20 years later, I believe that at least three of these girls are the three little girls. At least three of these women are the three little girls from the 1983 photo. And you see them massaging Epstein. The creepier thing, or the thing to really take notice of, because like I said, this photo or this drawing was submitted by Joel Pacho, who's a member of the Mar-a-Lago massage club. You look at this building in the back, Vacay Bay. A lot of people are saying it looks like Mar-a-Lago. A lot of people. And I've been doing my research, and I would have to concur.
Yeah.
This does not look like Epstein Island.
Yeah.
That look like Mar-a-Lago, Vacay Bay.
Mar-a-Lago before it got all of those updates, and people got to remember has been really updated, or not. I may be using the wrong word, but renovated is the word that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Nah, but let me see. Vacay said, yes, sir. I remember y'all said that the other day. Yep. Nah. So a lot more information has come out. One interesting piece that, as I was reading it, the birthday book, AC, is we find out a little bit about Epstein's upbringing, which is interesting because that's kind of like one of the mysteries of Epstein mythology. Like, where did he come from? Like, how did he just wind up with all of this wealth? And here, well, in the book of contents, we see a part where this group of names is labeled under Brooklyn. So apparently, these are supposed to be Jeffrey Epstein's childhood friends. And from what I've read, it appears that they were getting down and freaky from all the way back then. You see one photo at their young men in their underwear. I don't really understand why. And then in the other one, they're in their 50s and they're all in their underwear. I don't know why. These are some freaky individuals, but one letter in there basically talks about one of their plots to sexually assault a woman, where they say, we pulled up girls on the beach. We went out to the boat. I tell them with a knife in my hand to take the suits off, but Warren tells me, don't worry, his name is blah, blah, blah. He's just joking, and they threw the guy off the boat, which is, they were just running some games on some girls, but still, that was really the start of of Epstein's predatory ways. It's just interesting to look at. On top of the fact, this one of these individuals, I don't have the letter up here, but the way how they talk to each other is just fucking insane. Like
Yeah.
one of the individuals, I think he's the individual all the way down on the step, or excuse me, all the way sitting behind Epstein. He's the black guy. I think his name is Terry Kafka, and he wrote a letter basically talking about how Epstein's father spit on his mother's C word, and how who told him how to do that to make sure that you were here 50 years later. Like, it's just some of the most depraved, crazy shit you will ever read. But then moving on, AC, we find another person's credibility gets called into question. And you know who this motherfucker is. Alan Dershowitz.
Dershowitz.
Yeah, the stink face looking motherfucker.
Yeah,
So
the civil liberties guy.
yeah, this dumb son of a bitch. So Alan Dershowitz for years has tried to downplay how good friends that him and Epstein was. Firstly, his name comes up not under business, not under assistants. It comes up under friends. If you look up the Epstein birthday books, book of contents, here you see Alan Dershowitz's letter to Jeffrey Epstein, where he talks about how he managed to obtain an early version of Vanity Unfair article, and he talked them into changing the focus from Epstein to Bill Clinton. Now, I don't know if he's saying that jokingly. I don't know if he actually, if Vanity Unfair, the magazine, was actually doing an investigation into Epstein, and they chose to change the focus of the investigation because of Dershowitz put some kind of pressure on. So I don't know.
Yeah, no,
But
that's what happened because they wanted to do this expose. Vanity Fair wanted to do this expose based on rumors of these crazy sexual parties that were supposed to be going on Jeffrey Epstein's island when he first got it. So the minute he first got that island, he just went bananas with a lot of the things that he was doing. So it was drawing attention from at that time what they would say many of the wrong people.
no, absolutely. So it looked like Alan Dershowitz, and I bring up Alan Dershowitz and his credibility because he for years has said that he only knew Epstein in a professional capacity, that they were acquaintances. And so, from at least from what I've read, it looks like they were good friends. And it looks from this letter and for what you just told me, like he may have been not only been friends with Epstein, it looks like he was a fixer for him. But
This
moving on, Alan Dershowitz submitted this magazine cover for Ghislaine Maxwell's book, and in it, the a lot of different words are just switched out with Jeffrey Epstein. And on at the top, you see it says, "Who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein? Al Qaeda in South America, financed by Jeffrey Epstein. Bring it on, Jeffrey Epstein. Consume me, intoxicate me, Jeffrey Epstein." I mean, I don't know, like that. That seems like a bit much for somebody that's just an acquaintance.
yeah,
But
now
then,
go ahead,
yeah,
my bad.
no, you good. What you about to say?
I was about to say that's what got Alan Dershowitz in trouble with the bar association in the first place, was his ties to Jeffrey Epstein and his credible ties to some of the some of the sexual things that uh, he was involved in. Also, it's rumored, they haven't confirmed it, but Alan Dershowitz is supposed to be one of the names that Jeffrey Epstein said, listen, I want immunity for these people, because Dershowitz was about to get the whole entire book thrown at him, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. And I think Jeffrey Epstein said, you know what, Dershowitz is the type of dude to talk, so extend that sweetheart deal with him. And there was also rumored back at the time the sweetheart deal was going, Alan Dershowitz was supposed to be part of a person who was helping to broker the deal, to where because he's such a renowned civil liberties scholar, he kind of brokered it to whereas the liberties of the victims wouldn't be whatever, and that's where his plea deal was secured, based on things that were saying at the time. And I'm only going by stuff that was like, I don't. You probably weren't uh, alive at this point, or maybe you were just too young to remember. But the Inquirer had a TV show. It was like some late night stuff where they would recap certain things and things like that, and they would talk about those situations, but talk about them in broad context, not like anything that was definitive that you can say, yeah, this is the smoking gun, this is what this man was being charged with, and stuff like that.
Okay. So moving on from this Vanity and Fair magazine cover that's been edited, Alan Dershowitz then submits this letter for Ghislaine Maxwell, and this letter, I don't even know what to say about it. Like, it's just like, if you really just want a smoking gun, that Alan Dershowitz is full of shit and that he completely knew what was going on. Particularly because I've been doing research. He's downplayed how much he's known about Bill Clinton being involved with Jeffrey Epstein. So this letter right here, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it's you see it's titled "Who Was That Man with Epstein?" It says, and let me just find a good part, but it says, "But what was he doing flying to Africa with an obscure politician from Hope, Arkansas? Who is that politician, and why would Epstein have picked him up for the coveted seat?" Vanity and Fair was determined to get to the bottom of this mystery man and to reveal the story behind the story. Normally, we would not pry into the private life of an obscure Arkansas politician, particularly one who has tried so hard and up to now successfully to keep his private life to himself. But the moment the obscure man stepped onto the Epstein jet, he became fair game for probing inquiry. Why would a man like Epstein, who can pick and choose companions from princes to professors, select a flying companion from the Ozarks Mountains? To be sure, he was a Rhodes Scholar, but we all know how easy it is to get to Rhodes if you're from Arkansas. So for those of you who haven't pieced it together yet, he's talking about this article is talking about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is a Rhodes Scholar. Bill Clinton is from Hope, Arkansas. Bill Clinton is from the Ozarks. And I just bring this up once again to say that Alan Dershowitz, because he's somebody we see a lot in the media, particularly on Piers Morgan. They bring him a lot on News Nation, on Fox News. Um, the next time he gets up there, if the anchor does not absolutely put the metal to his pedal, I'm talking about press the gas on his ass. I'm talking about put the pressure to him. They in on it. There's no way. Because this man knows everything that's going on. And he's been coming up on these shows, sitting up there acting like, oh no, I've just been a good personal acquaintance. I don't know anything about this. This man said out his own mouth he went to Epstein Island, but he tried to make it like it was funny. But oh, I had my underwear on. You knew what was going on. You knew what was going on,
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah, to make a statement like
So
that, you know exactly what's going on.
exactly. So I want to see because Piers Morgan is somebody who's been pissing me off. He's been avoiding this Epstein debacle. I want to see who in the media is going to stand up to some of these people that are getting exposed in this Epstein book because it's not just Dershowitz. Um, but anyway, we move on. What's your reaction to some of that stuff, AC? Before I move on.
I'm gonna say it like this. Part of me knew that once all of this stuff really hit the fan, that they were gonna try to drag Bill Clinton back into it. What I do remember in real time of things that were happening when Bill Clinton was approached about it back sometime after the sweetheart deal was made. You know, he spoke on it and he was like, "Listen, there's very few words I can actually say because um, I immediately cut ties when I heard of some of the things that were going on. Bill Clinton knew what was going on. He knew some of the rumors. You feel what I'm saying? And when uh, he decided to at least go on rides and try to entertain the dude for whatever, you know, after presidency deals or whatever he wanted to make with Epstein or whatever, get into meetings with whatever people Epstein knew. Um, you put yourself at risk, you know, and the mere fact that you had all of these affairs, whether they were major or not, but then the thing you can't escape from is the Monica Lewinsky thing because you got impeached because you lied about it. So when it comes down to Epstein stuff, there's a legitimate argument to say, well, can we really trust what Bill Clinton is saying? But what I'm gonna say next is if there were definitive smoking gun things on Bill Clinton and things like that, the Trump administration would have been dropped that. They would have been dropped it. You know, knowing how all of this is hitting right now, they would have been dropped it. And then, like I said, you would have had all of these hearings on what Democrats knew, and they would have tried to bring Obama back. And oh, but
Yeah, they
Obama,
would have. Yeah, they'd have leaked
they
that
they
shit
would
to
have went
Fox News by
crazy.
now.
You feel what I'm saying? So the fact that none of that has happened, that takes me to believe Bill Clinton's original statement that he immediately cut ties with him and that was it. Yeah, I took a couple of rides on the plane. We talked about some things, but then when I found out that this is what you're doing on this island and it involved shit like this, at least Monica Lewinsky was of age and she was an intern. So the most I can go down for was inappropriate behavior with two consensual adults. But yo shit, like, nah, man, I can't fuck with that. I can't fuck with that. So um as far as Dershowitz is concerned, real fast to land this plane on Dershowitz, um Dersh, Dersh, Dershowitz at real time, he was an active participant in things that were going on over there. Dershowitz would come back and brag about, you know, how luxury the island was and all the beautiful women and things like that, and you know everything that was happening and all the fun and the massages and you know just how wild it was. And these are things that Dershowitz was talking about in small little magazines and articles and shit like that. So people knew Dershowitz, you have more than a connection to Jeffrey Epstein than what you're talking about. And you're trying to protect your career. Yes, you were part of that sweetheart deal, but because you're part of that sweetheart deal, we now know. Because that's like getting a pardon, bro. It's a definite admission of guilt because if you didn't have anything to do with it, Dershowitz, you would have said, "Don't put me in that deal. I ain't got nothing to do with that."
Nah, facts. Because if I ain't got nothing to do, because if I haven't done anything criminal. Why you putting my name in some paperwork?
Yeah, like get my name up out of that paperwork. No, 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 no. I'll tell you what I know, but you ain't about to ruin my career, get me disbarred or get me suspended by the bar because I'm trying to cover certain things up.
No, absolutely. So moving on, one sec, AC. Hold on. One sec. Okay, here it is. Okay, here it is. All right, my bad. Just one more thing. I forgot to show this. This goes along with the Brooklyn Friends thing. Um, so this, I don't even know like if they're joking or if this is real, but so Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't know who wrote this letter, but Ghislaine Maxwell included it in the book. It says, finally at home, at the home of our friend, let's call him Mr. Brown, Jeffrey unveiled his plan. To some, it may have seemed a get rich quick scheme, but to me, it was pure genius. Rob and kill was the name of the plan. The first victim, and I assume that this was a real young woman. Her name is redacted. The first victim, blank, to be attacked and brutally plundered. I don't know what they meant by plundered. I hope they just meant robbed. But in parentheses it says, would she want more than that? Question mark. On the boardwalk in Venice Beach, broad daylight, the dastardly thieves were never caught. Now I don't know what to make of that. Jeffrey Epstein's record speaks for itself. I don't think anybody would give him any charity if or would be really shocked if he was out here robbing and murdering young women on the boardwalk and possibly doing more stuff to them. I don't know who this individual is standing next to him. They call him Mr. Brown, but again, AC, what's your reaction to just the I don't know if to call it depravity. I don't know if you would be surprised that they're talking about something like this so out in the open. But what do you make of this picture right here? What do you make of any of this?
It's it's like those pictures, like
And Vacay Bay in the chat says these motherfuckers are creepy. So
yeah,
that's our reaction. Go
yeah,
ahead.
exactly. But when you, all right, which one of the things that got people, even Republicans, second guessing Mitt Romney? It was those hedge fund pictures where they were standing there with all of that money just laughing. You feel what I'm saying? This is culturally at that point, the culture of this country was like, listen, these hedge fund managers are the ones who are trying to sneak in and destroy democracy and destroy progress and things like that because they want to profitize on off of everything, and they want to remove government regulations so they can profitize even more. So it was the hedge fund managers that were the issue. Mitt Romney was a hedge fund manager. He had his own hedge fund. So that picture or those pictures of him in the early '90s and stuff like that, smiling, looking like Gordon Gecko and shit with all of that money. Those things didn't play well. In this, to bring full context to it, in this type of situation, this is a hindsight situation. In hindsight, knowing what we know about Jeffrey Epstein right now, these pictures don't paint a a a picture of saying I can give him the benefit of the doubt. Well, maybe Jeffrey Epstein wasn't really that. Maybe he was, you know, offering a platform and whatever goofy shit somebody would want to try to make up to justify what this man did. Things like this remove all of those doubts. It's like, nope, 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 nope. You don't do shit like this if you're not involved in that. So when you're getting away with things and you're getting away with them at that level and so brash, um, you feel confident in taking pictures like this, exposing your own crimes because it's like ain't nobody gonna do shit about it. So they were well aware of their cryptic talk. You know what I'm saying? It's like the gunman who took out Charlie Kirk. He had all of those cultural symbols. To these people in their circles, everything that's written there with them with the mask on and in that setting, it's cultural to the things that finally took him down. So in those circles, he's speaking cryptic language and language that only those who are rich and wealthy and who are involved in that type of behavior can honestly break that shit down. Those of us who are not, we just see it as cryptic message in a creepy ass photo, and that's where I land that plane.
No, absolutely. That's pretty much all you can describe it as. Creepy ass messages and a cryptic ass photo of a creepy ass motherfucker who we're all glad is dead. Moving on into the book, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. Later on, we see this letter, and it to me, it looks like it's written by a child. Um, I don't know why Ghislaine Maxwell chose to include this letter. The story in it don't even make sense. Like it's talking about it sounds like it's a little girl and her uncle F pooped on the floor, and her uncle F called his mommy to come help clean it up, and Uncle F keeps talking like it's so weird. Um and then we see this drawing which is clearly done by a little girl, and it's saying here comes the bride all dressed in white, and then there's a whole bunch of other writing which is all jumbled together, you can't read it. Then we see this picture of a toddler with a teddy bear, the face is redacted. Then we see this picture of a little girl who is popping out her hip. um, and one thing I want to take note of is that piano. That piano comes up a lot throughout this book. So here again, you see Jeffrey Epstein sitting next to this piano. You see sheet music,
Yeah.
and then later on, you see this drawing, which to me it just looks extremely disturbing. It looks to me like the people are sitting in pink chairs in like an audience, looking at somebody playing at a piano, and it looks like somebody is lying on the ground at the foot of the piano, and it looks to me like they're weeping. Now, I read there was a letter in the book explaining that, and it came from a girl who said that she met Jeffrey Epstein in 1985, and she described how they grew up with each other, but that doesn't make sense because Jeffrey Epstein was already a 40-year-old grown, or excuse me, a 30-year-old grown man in 85.
Yeah.
So I believe that that's probably a little girl who was writing that letter, and she describes a girl sleeping on the floor. So again, take from that whatever you will. This is some very creepy and cryptic stuff. But AC, what's your reaction to some of these different themes that I've just showed? And we're about to get into really the final part of what I've analyzed from the book. Go ahead.
Well, basically, I'm gonna say it like this: the piano being so prominent in that, if I was a person, you know, trying to profile, and I love watching, you know, crime shows where they try to profile the guy and stuff like that. I would say, in the age of where there weren't video games, you feel what I'm saying? When you go back through history and look at where people were groomed and these type of attacks happened between adults and children, whether it be male or female, it was always through piano lessons. The piano teacher, whether it was male or female. So the piano was something that may have happened to Jeffrey Epstein as a tool of grooming. You feel what I'm saying? So Now that he's of age, he now falls back on the thing that brought him in, and his love of pianos. You can love how a piano sounds. Anybody could love playing the piano, especially if you're a musician. But when you try to attach this piece of equipment that through through cultural experiences has always been the tool in movies and books and all other kind of things, that's been the catalyst for this type of behavior or sexual deviant behavior, or just whatever it is, even if it's consenting adults. It's the passion of playing the piano. Oh, he's exuding so much passion, so that thing has a sexual connotation. It's almost like, drawing a dildo instead of the piano. Excuse my language on that, but it has that same relevance. It's a tool that references something sexual. So, being that it's constantly prominent, if I'm profiling them, I would say that's usually where his assaults may have started, or his grooming may have started, that led to the actual assault. It's got to go in stages. You see some pedophiles, they want to use, uh, pedophiles or whatever. They want to use candy, sweets, shops. Later on, arcade games, video games, pool parties. They got creative, but before the video game and before many of these other things, I believe wholeheartedly, culturally, it's the piano.
What's good, Pop?
What's
Um,
good?
yeah, just went into a lot of different, just things that or just a lot of different things that have been exposed by the Epstein book. Um, I don't even know if I want to go back over some of this stuff, man. Some of
Nah,
this stuff is
man.
pretty
Go, go
disturbing.
ahead, keep going, man. Word. I
Yeah,
just like what y'all. I said, man, let me see what the guys is up here doing.
yeah. But a couple of different people have been exposed. We talked about the British ambassador to the U.S. He has been sacked, fired. His emails with Epstein, as well as you know, this is a picture of him and his boxers. This was in the Epstein birthday book, as well as a picture of him and Epstein. He's telling Epstein, "I love you." So they got him the hell up out of there. Alan Dershowitz, a guy you probably know from Piers Morgan. It's been exposed. He pretty much knew the whole time that Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. Now I don't know how close or how freaky Bill Clinton and Epstein were getting down, but Alan Dershowitz knew something, and he's been playing it up all these years like him and Bill Clinton were acquaintances. On top of just a bunch of different disturbing themes we found throughout the birthday book. Um, but going into really the last piece of what I talk about from the birthday book, and to me the most interesting, we find this one picture, and it says, and the woman, her face is redacted, but her identity isn't too important. I already know who it is. I did some deep diving. This is the woman. Her name is Ava Wilson. She's a Swedish young lady. I don't think she was a victim. She was actually a girlfriend, but whatever. At the bottom of the photo, you can see it says he is the boyfriend of blank. We think he works for the CIA. And this goes into something that we've all been talking about. Did Epstein work for an intelligence service? Was it the CIA? Was it Mossad? And I'm just showing that to show that this is something that was a point of conversation for people around him. Then later in the book, we see, and this right here is very important because number one, it contradicts Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell said that her and Jeffrey Epstein did not meet until 1991. And they said that her and her father, Robert Maxwell, did not meet until the 1990s. It says right here, Jeffrey, and this is a letter from Elliot Wolf, who was a private investment broker. And I think he worked under Ace Greenberg at Bears and Stearns. I think that's how you say the name. It says, Jeffrey, I remember in the mid 1970s, you are a star salesman, you being a star salesman for our tax advantage strategies and hedge option program. I was running an account for Bob Maxwell. You always had the ability to know everyone and be charming. Was that when you first discovered the Maxwell teenage daughter? Happy birthday, Elliot Wolk. Happy birthday, Elliot Wolk. So there, right there, Elliot Wolk pretty much says it out loud. Jeffrey Epstein had a connection with Bob Maxwell all the way back in the 1970s. And this is during the time when Bob Maxwell was had already had deep ties to Khashoggi and them, and he was doing all that stuff with in the Middle East. And not only that, he was having the arms sales with Iran so that they could fight their war with Iraq. So, or excuse me, I got that wrong. That's the other way around. So this just adds, and like I said, it throws water on Ghislaine Maxwell's credibility, because not only did she say her and Epstein didn't meet until 91, she said that she did not have any part, or excuse me, she had a small part in coordinating this book. No, that's a lie. From the first letter in this book, Pop, Ghislaine Maxwell literally says she compiled the entire book. On top of the fact, she said she conveniently said, "I don't remember if Donald Trump submitted a letter." The bitch lied. She just straight out lied. But yeah, this is a lot of just interesting new information, and it confirms that Epstein and Bob Maxwell, they had a connection going back all the way to the 70s, and probably if we were to investigate deeper into that, we would find an Epstein Mossad tie. But I'm going to Epstein first before I come to you, Pop. What's your reaction to some of those disclosures I just read, particularly about Epstein and Maxwell?
When they made those friendships, they never thought this was gonna happen. I guess that's pretty much it. Like, you could say whatever, but you know that once the shit hit the fan, they was trying to find every way they could to damn distance themselves from even saying that you was near this guy because of how they painted him in the news after his death. Like, but it just I wish you could catch some of these motherfuckers actually in the act, instead of 30 years later after they done damn benefited off all the bullshit they done. Like, what are you gonna do to them now? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, what you gonna do to them? They old, they rich. You gonna put them in jail? They gonna be in the damn best motherfucking Fed camp ever. Basically, like, this shit right here ain't gonna do. They not about to diddy nobody. They not, because if they would, like, we would. You know what? What's up with them Abercrombie niggas? I won't be surprised if all of them tied into the same shit too. But that shit go under the damn. That shit get thrown under the bridge. They were trafficking kids for years, but and in the spotlight with having one of the top brands in the world. So, they do this shit in plain sight, man. It's just if you catch it. That's just to me when it comes to anybody. Word. I want to know who fucking protecting Hugh Hefner, because Hugh did a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I was.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yo, you
know what I'm saying? Like,
you was just as bad as Epstein.
Like as a kid, I used to look at that Playboy bunny house like, damn, that's the coolest shit in the world. Now, really understanding how sick a motherfucker gotta be to have a house with 100 different women, and you just an old decrepit fuck. Now I really understand. That was probably a house of horrors.
Yeah,
those women had to deal with.
Listen, they had all the reports of women who like came up like and was constantly talking about what was going on. The feds were actually looking into what was going on at the Playboy, but they really couldn't prosecute because the same type of thing that Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Who you think that man learned it from? Hugh Hefner.
Word.
He was doing the same exact thing, holding high-level politicians, senators, former presidents. Like, listen, you had the Kennedys fucking with Hugh Hefner early. So Hugh wasn't going nowhere. Hugh was Hugh was just able to
he was able to be like, well, I got mine. Y'all got to figure out a way to do yours. So
Yeah,
Epstein
but the
went
only
and fucked
thing,
up a whole nother island. He went and bought an
Hugh
island.
Hefner was just, he was just creepy as hell with women of age. He wasn't involved in like the weird stuff that this dude was doing, like messing with these file cabinets. So Hugh was like, listen, you come into this mansion, when I want some, you got to give it up. Even if I bring my peoples, you got to give it up. That's what they expecting from you. And if you want to live here rent free, you feel what I'm saying, and enjoy the luxuries of the limousines and the fancy cars and everything else, then it is what it is. You know, so he was a monster. He was in his
But
own
you
right.
think he met all of those women as grown women?
No, he met a lot of them when they were like 16,
That's what I'm
17.
saying, though, AC.
But he didn't like, the rumors were him into the mansion. He might have brought you into the mansion on the day of your 18th day. You feel what I'm saying? So you was
And he might
grinding
not
like
have
that.
gotten to you. He might not have
But
gotten
I'm
to
gonna
you
bring
till you
you
was
into the
19 or
mansion.
20. That's how much hell he had. He might not have gotten to you for 2 years, and then you had a 3 to 5 year run, and then he would pay for your apartment outside the damn building.
Yeah,
That's how he
yeah,
kept the shit quiet so much. He paying for motherfuckers' apartments and giving them somewhere to live. You just gotta make your own money.
yeah. You had a system that kept protected. You feel what I'm saying? Jeffrey Epstein was just like, all right, fuck, I'm just gonna do me. They ain't gonna do because I got so much dirt on everybody. I got so much on everybody, and it is what it is. So that's pretty much the difference between them two, to me. But at the end of the day, uh, both of them dudes are pretty much exactly the same. They're both predators. You feel what I'm saying? So one would learn from the other one, and coming from the in, I do not doubt at any point in his life he came across, or he went to a Playboy party, or he came across Hugh Hefner before Hugh passed away, and everything else.
Before you get
No.
hold up.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I am on that. And at the end of the day, man, I'm not expecting anything after this, because the general consensus is going to be, well, they did lock him up and he took his own life. They did lock Ghislaine Maxwell up and yada 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 yada. So there was justice and this and that and this and that, and this is what these protectors of this type of behavior that are in Congress and that are lawyers. This is going to be their argument. And for me,
Do
it's just
you
going to be.
do you even want to bother to hear what Ghislaine Maxwell has said? Now that her credibility, I mean, she already didn't have much credibility, but now her credibility has been completely destroyed.
Uh-huh. What did this
Yeah,
crazy?
she's getting subpoenaed to Congress. I think in the next, I think in by the end before the end of this month, she's getting subpoenaed to testify in a deposition, along with Alex. I think Alex Acosta's deposition is next week, and
Yeah,
Bill Clinton's.
yeah. But
So I was saying, do you? Yeah,
go ahead.
do you even want to bother to hear what Ghislaine has to say?
In her deposition, not really, because it doesn't. She's already made her deals, and she's already been rewarded to a certain degree for her deals. Her testifying in front of Congress is only part of the deal she originally made. To whereas, for some strange reason, after this, whatever that motion is that she put in, to whereas she doesn't have to be pardoned, they're going to be some judge probably coming out of Texas or Florida that's gonna grant her motion, or maybe the DOJ may grant that motion and say, yeah, so she deserves to be released. You know, whatever. She's being extra cooperative, and they're gonna make up all kind of excuses. So, you know, at the end of the day, out of her 20-year sentence, what did she serve? 4, maybe 5. You know,
They say
again,
she's trying to get house arrest, AC. You were right. She trying to get you. You were right when you told me she was trying to get. They were trying to get her to work release.
yeah. So at the end of the day, the writing's on the wall. Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, her jail sentence is over.
Mark,
You
Mark, let me tell you something about this court, this damn judicial system, this correctional system.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yep.
they give you out of every year they give you, right? This ain't even good behavior. What it is, if as long as you don't get in trouble, you only got to do 8.5 to 9 months out of every year. So you do the math for how many months, and then if it's non-violent, you only do they passed a law that you only do 55% of that time.
yeah. And if you're a model prisoner, even more time comes off.
You feel what I'm saying?
So it's
her jail sentence is
I can't
effectively
trick you.
over.
It's ways for them to manipulate her shit.
There's ways for them to manipulate the way they gave her a 20-year sentence, and you're like, how the hell is she home in 4.5? But she really not home, but she is. They gave her parole. She's supposed to be on parole for 10 years, but then you can get off parole soon. You can buy your damn way off parole damn near.
That bitch, they should have had her the same way they had Larry Hoover in a fucking little jail cell by himself where he had to read his fucking mail on a TV screen.
But who's really worse?
Ghislaine.
But look how they treat Hoover. And still want to treat Hoover the same way. 40 years later.
At least Hoover, at least some of these people Hoover was getting killed were in the game. Like Ghislaine was straight up poaching these little girls.
Yes, she was. I told you she poached the masseuse.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the one of the girls I was talking about literally wrote a letter about how she was massaging Epstein, or excuse me, Ghislaine. Then Ghislaine asked her to massage her employer, who was Epstein. I think she was a little girl at the time, just from how she wrote it.
Man, listen. That the first, what was it, the Netflix special that kicked this shit off?
I could never watch that. I was never able to watch that bullshit. No.
I watched it. It ain't the. Trust me. I mean, it took. I got up and walked around and came back. It was like, all right, but I watched it. But it's like, bro, you know, you got to be different when it comes to this conspiracy shit. Like when I did the live on the conspiracy of Tory Lanez, like, you think they got Tory Lanez just for shooting Megan Thee Stallion? No, that bitch was a pawn. Because look where she at now. Music career shot, but look where she at. She landed very well, didn't she, with the light-skinned captain that's gonna be rich forever. She landed very well, right?
She did.
She landed very well, but that was a 2-3 year plan that they had to catch Tory Lanez because they wanted him to come back begging. Remember, they removed him from all social media platforms, and he was able to sell 10 million motherfucking records on the NFT. He broke them niggas without having to use them, and he owns all of his damn masters.
Yep.
What do they do with niggas that own their masters?
Take him down, Michael Jackson. Take him down. Look at MJ. MJ was the king of masters. He wouldn't do a collab with anybody that didn't have their masters.
Look at Prince. So, bro, when they want to get you, they play the long game. You got to be willing to play the long game with them. Word. So when they play, you got to know how to play. Real talk.
Meetings,
recording
recording.
with them, or you play direct. It's either or.
Yeah, the meetings you have, record them shits. Offers, emails sent to you. Keep those receipts, bro. Cause listen, man, I'm trying to keep it a beam with people, man. Listen, some of the even what I'm doing, rich people try to do things for their own benefits and their own gains. If it don't gain them, they if it's not for their own interests and gains, they're not involved in it. They're not out to help anybody. Like, nah, I'm not out here to help you. If me helping you really helps me more than it helps you. And that's the only reason why I'm doing it. So once you could realize that, then you kind of like can realize your approach and your game plan in dealing with them. This is the thing that people like Jeffrey Epstein, uh, Michael Cohen. You feel what I'm saying? Hugh Hefner. These are people who are considered uh, how whatever the word I'm brain farting on the word that I want to use for them, but they were savvy enough and smart enough to keep receipts. I'm playing the dirty game and I'm laying down with fleas, so I'm making sure that I constantly have flea spray and flea shampoo right next to me, because I ain't trying to let nobody see me scratch.
Yeah, these
So
niggas, it's different, man. Like,
Nah, I mean it's just like I was watching Training Day the other day, and you remember when they went back to that old corrupt cop's apartment to get his money and kill him,
yeah,
yeah,
and they all said, "Oh, Jake the one that shot him." They want you to be if you gonna get dirty, they want to make sure I could prove this motherfucker is dirty too,
yeah,
cause he the saint.
yeah,
yeah. If I can get everybody, if I can get you to break, bro,
Yep.
for real. Like that's, you know what? I just want. I'm gonna take it to box in 1 second.
Nah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm trying to get a video
Listen,
up right now, as a matter of fact. So please keep talking.
okay, so how do you break a man that his mama just told him that she loved him not too long ago, and he almost 40? How do you break a man like that? All he want is the love and affection of his mama, and she trying to break him, and he would not ever break. How do you break a man like that? Everybody ain't built like that.
the thing is, you got to go to the other thing that he loves. You break a man by taking away his passions, the thing he's most passionate about. That could be his work, that could be his money, that could be a female. You feel what I'm saying? We've seen plenty of men crash out just on females that they aren't even humping.
So
They
how do
just
you
don't.
break Bud Crawford? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you talking about Bud?
Yeah,
Uh,
bro. Bud
I
Mama just
mean,
told him. Bud Mama just told him that she loved him a few years ago.
that man got 8 kids. So
So
there you go.
that's the only way you gonna get to him is the kids, and if you're gonna be seen as a monster then. So how do you break this man when it comes to like what you say about him? You think that shit gonna work?
no, you got to go. If it's like that, you go after the things that he holds more important. So if you want to break Bud, you feel what I'm saying, and constantly have him jumping through hoops, you constantly question his career moves. Who did you fight? Yeah, and you nitpick at stuff, and then you constantly keep him in the game longer till he actually gets that loss and say, "See, this is what we was telling you. You was never that guy. Why did you lose to this guy?" And now you're gaslighting him on his own career to where he might start to think with all the internet chatter and everything else, was it really that? And how did I actually lose to this dude? And it's like, Bud, you were trying to fight that man. You were trying to fight a 27-year-old and you were 51. Like, come on, bro.
You think they gonna catch Bud slipping like that?
No, no, but I'm just saying I'm just using it as an example. But if you're trying to break anybody, when you just by looking at some of those early CIA documentaries and the MI6 documentaries and and the whole documentary talking about waterboarding and all of this other kind of stuff. You got to go after the things people love the most. It's easy to break them. If I want to break you, and get you to say a whole bunch of shit that I don't need you to say, I mean that I want you to say. I show you your kid's school. I show you where your wife works. I show you where the babysitter lives. That when y'all go out on the weekend, where she lives. I'll show you pictures of where she tends to hang out. So to let you know that your family is in danger. So if you ain't fucking with me, you're gonna put them in danger. So your best bet is to fuck with me. And I broke you once you say, okay, just don't hurt my family. That's what Putin did. Putin just went after all of those politicians and how he took control of the government. If he didn't go after you like that and you didn't have kids, Putin took ex-MMA fighters and boxers, heavyweights, rounded motherfuckers up, brought them into a abandoned building on the floor, and beat the shit out of them until they agreed to sign whatever paperwork they were going to sign.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, that's how you break people. You put them in situations that they can no longer refuse, like the mafia. Just offer him a deal he can't refuse. You broke them. I broke you.
Nah, facts, AC.
So
I'm trying. Hold on, I'm trying to get this video up here. 1 sec. It's a UFO. It's some video. It's a video of some UFO footage that was taken off of the coast of Yemen. Um, but no, I
okay,
definitely agree. With a motherfucker like Bud Crawford, the only way to get to him would be through his kids or through his family. Um, and
his
with a
mama's
nigga
not
like
gonna be the thing that break him. His mama's not gonna be the thing that break him. You got to go after them, the little ones, the ones he gives a shit the most about. But yeah, I'm to see this UFO stuff. That's my wheelhouse, bro.
hold on,
Ancient
hold on, hold
alien
on.
theorists, man, all day.
I'm trying to get it up. It wasn't letting me upload it. Hold on, here's pop. Oh, well, no, that's not pop. Hold on, but 1 sec.
That's what made me as a young 13-year-old, 12, 13-year-old, made me reread how I was reading the Bible and the Quran based on, the questions that Eric Van Daniken was asking. And you're talking about a devout, Christian who's asking these questions, which made it so prominent. So, yeah, ever since then, I've been on some UFO stuff. I've even gotten my own UFO footage. I've sent it to MUFON. MUFON confirmed it. Stuff like that. New Year's Eve.
Hold on, what?
No, I've had I've
You said you've had UFO. You said you've had confirmed UFO footage.
yeah, from MUFON all day, bro. Yeah, I've seen at least 4 UFOs here in Brooklyn. One silver cigar shaped. Um, One silver cigar shaped. New Year's Eve. I'm walking, right? And this is the first video that I actually sent into MUFON. While you look for the footage that you're looking for, I'll just explain it real fast. Basically, like this. I was coming from work, and I think it was New Year's Eve 2015. When I was at Mom and Dad. No, it was 2013. My bad, 2013. And I'm walking down this residential block. As I'm coming up to this residential block, it's near Myrtle and Broadway. You feel what I'm saying? The M train makes this weird ass sharp ass turn to whereas once things settle, even where I live, I can hear the M train uh, making that turn because the tracks squeal so much. As I'm walking, I see it. I see a flash out the corner of my eye. There's some people um, in a small like 4-story brand new condominium type building. but they're on their terrace and they're taking pictures. But the flash that I saw was different than that. So as I'm looking up, I see the thing come past me, the ship come past me. And I look over to the terrace and I'm like, they don't see what I'm looking at right here. And I yell out like, hey, you see this? And they don't even respond. So I immediately take out my cell phone. Do you feel what I'm saying? And I just start recording. Boom. It's an iPhone, so it's basically take the phone, touch the camera thing, slick it over to video. That's all less than 3 seconds if your hands are not shaking or they're not cold. So start recording it, and then it flashes, and then it jumps. And the way it was jumping, and there was no sound because you don't hear nothing, and then you see the ship for as close as it is or as big as it was. The only thing you hear is the train, the M train making that turn, and the track squealing really really loud. So when I sent everything to MUFON, they send you an application back. You go through maybe two or three emails, and they send you these long questionnaires like, do you know the feed, what day? And some of the questions are repetitive because they want to make sure that you saw what you think you saw. And then it even gives you a space to where you can upload your footage, any additional footage. So I was telling them, look, I stand 10 toes down. This was New Year's Eve. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I saw the flash, and then you see the flash and you see the thing like hopping in space. Like it's in one point, then it's at another point, then it's at another point, but it was just moving further and further away from me. And when it would flash, it would completely disappear and then reappear someplace else. And when I sent that footage to them, they confirmed that we can identify that because there are no planes and we don't see any uh, markings that would say that had aviation lights. And the mere fact that one of the pictures is the beginning of the video, the craft is so close, we estimated that it was probably uh, 500 to 500 to 800 or 900 feet away from you, but at a height, based on where the top of the building was, that the thing kind of flew over and stuff like that. The second video I had sent MUFON was uh I was sitting in a park, and it was like a semi-cloudy day, and I was sitting there with my son, and me and my son was talking about UFOs and stuff like that, and we just see coming out of the cloudy sky a bright light, just a big ball. It was white as hell. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, like, and I'm just talking to him, and I'm like, yeah. For instance, you could take this big ball of light right here. It's probably a plane coming straight at us, so it's looking like it's a ball. You feel what I'm saying? And I said, you know what? I'm just going to record it, so just to show you how, if you see something like that, how you can record it, so you could send it into different organizations or UFOs and say, yeah, this is my UFO picture. And the thing turned, and when it turned, it stayed like a white ball. It scared my son so bad. He was like, Daddy, I just want to go home. And I was like, no, it's nothing to be afraid of. And then all you see is these jets like streaming after that. Like you could literally hear the jets, and you see it had to be no less than maybe 7 or 8 helicopters that got in the skies really, really fast and were just hovering. And when this thing made the turn, it made the turn and just disappeared into the clouds. It just like shot off, and it almost left a hole in the cloud. Like it left a hole, and then the clouds covered up real fast because it was kind of windy and it was a cloudy day. It might have been like uh I think it might have been like November or something like that. like late November, like after Thanksgiving, because I remember him having a school break, so it was definitely during the Thanksgiving break. And those are the two videos, and they were like, "Whoa!" This, the second one, um, they sent me their conclusions, like, yeah, again, this whatever this object is, um, we cannot not identify it, and if you get a non-identified joint, that means they're confirming that you saw a UFO to a certain
I
degree.
mean, listen, I would like to see that footage if you could send it to me sometime. But anytime I could find these, right now I can't bring it up. It's unfortunate. StreamYard ain't letting me add the clip, and it's not letting me do the share screen. So it is what it is. But the clip, I could just describe it to you. It is, you see this orb you see this orb-shaped object flying over the seas, and then this drone, I think they call it an MQ-9 drone, which is the typical drone you see the U.S. military use to drop missiles and bombs on people they want to kill. This MQ-9 drone was following it, and then another MQ-9 drone fired a Hellfire missile at it, and essentially the missile just bounces off of this orb, and you see like three little pieces of debris break away from it, and it just keeps flying, and even like the three little pieces of debris follow behind it, and
So
then you see it again from a more like wider perspective, and it just keeps flying until it's out of screen, until it's out of frame, that
now I
the
pulled it up
it's
right
flying.
now. It
Yeah,
says
yeah, yeah,
UFO
yeah.
Hellfire leaked US UFO Hellfire
Yep,
missile.
that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. And they said it was moving so fast that the Reaper drone's camera couldn't even keep up with it. And this is not the first time we've seen that. We also had oh damn, wow. So the video finally uploaded. Hold on, I got it, AC. I got it.
All right, all right.
So to the people in the chat, we got some UFO.
I'm going to queue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe. This was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does. This is when it zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling. So,
and you can see right there the drone's camera is having trouble keeping up with it, and eventually it loses track of it at the end. But that is just freaky. Like,
Yeah.
you see that thing, like it almost stops at a dime and avoids the missile, but you see a piece of it, it does get damaged, and the debris keeps following it behind it at high speed.
Yeah, that tells you that the thing
That was a Vacay Bay asked what hit it. That was a Hellfire missile. Vacay Bay. I was meant to destroy it whole. But go ahead,
yeah,
AZ.
the thing that tends to bother me, and this is where people are gonna see some of the geek in me. Anton Povich, he's the guy that has the videos. Hello, wonderful people. I started messing with him because he put me onto this this universal program and stuff like that. That's just amazing. Like you can really see, you know, the scale of the
Is that
universe.
Maury Povich's brother?
No, 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 no. He's a either Ukrainian or Russian guy, but like in the beginning, he was really he's a scientist and stuff like that, and um, uh, his whole thing was black holes. So that's why I started messing with him because you know, you could watch PBC, PBS, and other things where they talk about black hole, but they keep giving you information that's years old. When you watch the Anton's channel, like he's talking about papers that were recently discovered, new physics that are recently discovered. He was the first one out of all the scientists to really break down and break out the news about new discoveries of the of event horizons and stuff like that with black holes. It's people like him, Neil deGrasse Tyson, will look at that video and then still make a video about microbial life that's trapped in ice and saying, this is alien. The ship that we saw right there is not alien because we don't know where it came from. Well, we know where it definitely did not come from, which is the planet Earth. Because if anybody had technology, even a military guy, where he was like, well, you know, these UAPs can be advanced technology from another country, if anybody had that type of technology, that is sphere, a triangle, a ball, a flat disc, whatever the case may be, moved and it showed no heat signature. That means it cannot be genuinely shot down by traditional missiles and stuff like that. You have to shoot it down by some sort of guided missile or smart missile. Then that tells you that it did not come from our planetary system or our planet. And right now, we consider ourselves humans to be the most popular or the smartest, whatever, whatever. So to relish to say things that this footage that we just saw doesn't prove anything definitively, but you're going to try to tell me microbial bacteria in ice on a foreign planet is definitive proof of alien life or alien technology and how life could have started on Earth. It's like you're missing out. It's like having $1 million on a table and you take $2 and you say, "Yeah, I just got rich because I took $2 off the table that had $1 million on the table, and I could have took the whole million, but I took two, and that's where I'm going to be satisfied." So that's just my pushback on guys like that will probably try to make some weird excuse on this footage right here. But me personally, I'm a ancient alien person. I believe in UFOs. I've seen UFOs myself. Um, at the end of the day, man, if I know it doesn't come from this planet and it's flying in our sky, that right there lets me know much more about life on other planets than you telling me about microbial life.
No, most def. There were also witnesses from who were members of the military who were testifying. One man testified that he was on watch with some other comrades, and this craft that he described, he said it was the size of a football field, and he said it came up to where him and his other soldiers were and stopped on a dime and then just disappeared in an instant. Like he says, he's never seen anything like that before, and he was told to shut up. So they had a whole conference about this, a whole conference about government secret, excuse me, a whole committee hearing about government secrecy. So just something that's interesting to watch. I became entranced in the whole UFO aliens are already here. Uh, I got entranced in that. I want to say around 2019, 2020. I started getting more and more into Joe Rogan. Um, what's the name of the guy? Bob Sapp. I
Yeah,
think that's his name. Yeah, Bob Sapp. As well as that scientist guy. I listened to the whole podcast. I listened to audiobooks concerning them. So I definitely believe that aliens are here. This footage just reasserts that belief in my mind. And yeah, it may
yeah. I mean,
already be over. It might
no,
already really be over.
I've always challenged, my friends who are heavy into their belief systems to say, listen, what if an alien actually lands on Earth and that alien is Christian, Jewish, or Muslim, or something like that? Doesn't that affirm that your belief system is what people should be believing in? So why act like they don't exist? Because the existence of 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 these advanced civilizations is that it can either deny or solidify whatever beliefs you have. You feel what I'm saying? And it can only make some of these belief systems stronger. This is why I do see, and when you actually like speak with like very very prominent Jewish leaders, you see the Torah is full of things to where they acknowledge that you can't just not extend uh, God's greatest gift as humans to be part of another planetary system. We cannot assume that we're the only one, and Jews don't assume it. The Vatican now is embracing, you know, the belief in aliens or the acknowledgement of aliens and things like that. So overall, even the most hardened religious structures are saying, we don't believe in them like we believe in our deities and things like that, but we acknowledge the existence because our scriptures, tell us that things came from the sky in ships. So when you look at even that footage of when the missile uh, uh, bounced off of it or whatever, you would say that this ship is much like ships that we've seen in Transformers, to whereas it's accumulation of a bunch of ships that are tied together, and if one gets done, the pieces can act independently and not leave any traces. This is indicative of maybe a type 1, type 2 civilization. We're not even a type 1 civilization because we haven't mastered all the resources that are on our planetary scale, like solar, like wind, like volcano, like the oceans. So we're not even a type 1 planetary civilization. So if we're being visited by the very least another type 1 planetary system, or maybe type 2, bro, stop trying to, tell us BS. Let's be honest with us, because I think as a humanist, to become a type 1 civilization, we remove certain things that are problematic with our planet right now, which is global warming, food supplies, starvation, and just looking at each other, and just because we've got different color skin, we say one is uh, more smarter or whatever, superior than the next. I think that we become that, at least that type 1 planetary civilization, that stuff becomes irrelevant because it's now about the human experience and becoming maybe now a type 2 type civilization, reaching to that status.
Nah, most definitely. It'll be interesting to see one day because me and you, we've had conversations about how human beings are going to have to evolve to a new level if they want to explore the stars and see all that
Exactly.
it has to offer. But
Exactly.
last topic before we get out of here. This is one spot of the world which I've been keeping my eye on because obviously it's my backyard down here in the Caribbean. Um, a U.S. Warship which has been identified as a destroyer as well as a missile frigate, um, boarded a tuna boat in Venezuelan territorial waters. They held the crew for at least 8 hours before the Venezuelan Navy came in to escort the men back. Um, this is another huge escalation. It is extremely apparent in my mind that Donald Trump wants us to be engulfed in this war. I am very glad that Venezuela and these fishermen and the Navy of Venezuela did not take the bait because the second they even injure or retaliate for one of these illegal ass actions, because what the U.S. Navy essentially did here was piracy.
Yeah.
You came into their territorial waters. These men had permission from their government to go out here and do a job, which was to fish for tuna, and you stopped them from doing that. So they probably lost an entire days of work, entire day of work. They probably didn't get any tuna. They're probably gonna have nothing to show for it. On top of the fact you violated their territorial waters, as well as you violated their fucking rights.
Yeah.
This was essentially a kidnapping. You had no reason to hold them at all whatsoever. You had no legal standing to come into their territorial waters, come onto their boat, and then hold them. That's a kidnap. That's the same thing they're talking about with the Gaza flotilla, or what Israel does. They just come on there and put people in those wrist straps. A lot of people constitute that as kidnapping, but hey, see, before we get out of here, let me get your reaction. This is just something I'm keeping my eye on. Obviously, Trump killed 11 people the week before. No evidence has come out to prove that those people were running drugs. And now we have this incident where it just seems like the U.S. Navy is begging for an escalation.
Yeah, definitely, because you you have the civil war here in the U.S. You have that escalation over there. He has two different fronts where he can try to grasp at complete power, and that's what it's all about. But when you look at uh, what he's doing overall, you're trying to incite Venezuela, and you've taken without any real shreds of concrete evidence that uh, you're basically saying anybody coming out of Venezuela is we're going to classify you as terrorists, because we saw what happened with the boat, with the boat and the 11 people prior, and then we seen what happened. Hold on 1 second. And then we seen what happened basically with this fishing boat situation. So you're now trying to paint a picture that Venezuela is an other. Venezuela is a terroristic threat to the United States because of gang activity. And you're saying that from its citizens to its political figures, they're all part of this gang. So this is why, we can classify Venezuela or Venezuelans as terrorists. So you constantly need, and the dictator and the authoritarian needs the other. They need to have the villain. So what do? You create the villain out of thin air. You take a couple of coincidences, and then you just say, you know what? let's make these things now factual. And this is the narrative that we're going. We're going to push it through all our media outlets, and they're going to justify it. We're going to push it through our government heads, and they're going to justify it. And, you know, the small percentage of followers that support us and vote for us, they're going to follow it because they're going to feel like, why would my government lie to me about terrorists?
But what? But like, this just it feels like a combination of like two of the worst pieces of U.S. foreign policy of the last 40 years. Like they're combining the drug war and the war on terror.
Yeah,
Like these are two unbelievably unpopular wars. Like how successful do you think they would be at selling this? If they were if Venezuela, even if Venezuela were, let's say they were to fire some bullets at a U.S. ship, and that's Trump's justification for going all out. Like how successful do you think they would be at selling it to these idiots
they're not
who
gonna.
seem to already buy everything?
Here's the thing: they're gonna be successful selling it to the base. You feel what I'm saying? But um, I this is where I think, to a certain degree, that red line may not get crossed when it comes down to legacy media. Legacy media will come to this injunction to say, do we support these unwarranted attacks against this foreign nation and bend the knee to all of this other stuff, or do we finally take our stand and do real ethical journalistic reporting and report that this is some bullshit? Because you kind of seen it happen in pockets, and you still kind of see it happen in pockets when it comes down to the Gaza and Israel situation. So you see some of the pushback on some legacy media, and that depends on whose show and what hour you're looking at it. But yeah, it's you're not going to be able to sell it, and some of uh, some of uh, the hardened MAGA followers are going to give you pushback because they're going to say, well, I thought you said it was Mexico and fentanyl, and that was an assault. Now we're going to add Venezuela, Brazil, and what other South
That's
American
what I'm
countries?
saying. If we can invade Venezuela because they're poisoning us with drugs, bro, what's to stop us from invading Mexico next? There is nothing. Like 97% of the illegal drugs that comes into the U.S. comes through Mexico.
Hmm.
Same thing with the human trafficking. It all comes through Mexico. So if this is gonna be our justification for going after these folks, we're gonna be in Mexico in the next year.
Yeah,
But hey, uh, this is their peacetime president, AC. Uh, this is them. They're gonna see. They're gonna get the buyer's remorse. They're gonna be very upset with their peacetime president when he starts this next war, as he also lines up to try and get his new Nobel Peace Prize. I'm sure whoever they install as the new dictator of Venezuela will be giving Trump his nomination soon after. Um, yeah, war, baby. But hey, see, this is another great show. Great conversations. We broke down some of the new disclosures from the Epstein. We broke down some of the civil war that's going to be coming. Salute to my brother Jay Bliss coming in at the end. Any final words, AC?
yeah. Just you know what, people. Just start to question everything, because this is the time, this is the space, this is the cultural event that tells us to question everything. And even if you think you found the answer, double and triple down on your research. because some of these stories may have different folds to it and different things like that. Just to end it real fast like this, I was talking to the good brother Marky Dan about a specific politician that was running in the 2020 election, Andrew Yang, and he made some very solid points and things like that. I even sent him a video when Andrew Yang was talking about universal basic income with the mere fact that AI is coming online, and right now, just to end this and maybe give a segue to something else that we could talk about later. Alibaba is now going into the AI space, and Alibaba is now, and China is putting in money to where transferable bonds for China will now allow you to invest in the Alibaba chips that are better for AI than the NVIDIA AI chips, which are the standard right now. So Alibaba is about to fuck that contract up for NVIDIA, and they're going to take over AI chips. And with this level of AI coming online, Bloomberg TV is going to have a guest on where they're using AI to hopefully find cures for diseases like cancer and things like that. So if AI pulls this type of stuff off, the things that he and I were talking about Andrew Yang are right on target. But where Andrew Yang kind of messed up lately is he's talking about, or Elon Musk done reached out to him to talk about forming their own political party. And it's just like, why would you want to try to form a political party with Elon Musk, Mr. Doge? So, yeah, that's
President Trump.
That I would say I hope he stays far away from. But overall, watch out for the AI space. Keep an eye open for that, because it's going to affect all of us in some way, some form. And let's keep our feet down and keep our feet 10 toes down, and keep our knees on the necks of these guys to release this Epstein file, so we can know what's really going on and true justification can happen for the victims. And that's where I land my plane.
Most Def AC. Thank you so much for coming through, man. I ended off with some very, very informative clips.
I will vote for Donald Trump.
Yanette Correa screams injustice after her husband was placed on an expedited deportation order after showing up to his immigration check-in in Miami.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a